0-1. He is an unbeaten heavyweight from New York, ranked number 20 in the world by the WBC. Trimm is 26-5-1 with 21 knockouts along the way. From Houston, Texas, they both weighed in at 212, and they are each 28 years of age. The referee is Mark Tessman. The judges are Bob Martin, David McCullough, and Spider Bynum, all from the state of Texas.
Tim, Eddie Gregg is exceptionally tall for a heavyweight at 6'5". You know, he was a former New York Jet football player. He was on the Jet football squad, and he decided to devote all his time to boxing. Since then, he's undefeated. He's a little, for the amount of fights he's had, he's got a little mileage on him, age-wise. But he is considered a prospect.
Round one scheduled for 10. Trimm we saw once before on an undercard in Texas a couple of years ago, and looked like he also was a prospect. His record shows, as we said earlier, 5 defeats. So far he is an unranked heavyweight. Still hopes of moving up the ladder, and I would say two heavyweights of this caliber meeting each other right now turns into a rather significant fight for each of them. Gregg considered the better prospect of the two boxers. Heavyweight division so wide open that almost any of the young guys boxing today hope that they may find themselves in the top 10 if they put a swing in it.
Certainly looks attractive when you get in the top 10 heavyweight position in the heavyweight division.
Toe to toe in the middle of the ring, neither guy will land a solid clean shot yet, but they've been busy.
You think that Gregg with his height would start to use his good jab and his movement. Instead, he's fighting Trimm's fighting on the inside.
We haven't seen a jab from Gregg since the opening 2 seconds. He came out boxing.
It would seem to me that the only chance Trimm has is to tear Gregg with short punches inside.
Gregg's scoring a couple of short blows from the inside. Under 30 seconds to go. Round number 1. Scheduled 10-round heavyweight bout from Beaumont, Texas. We're in the Beaumont Civic Center. Again, Gregg scoring from inside. Left and right to the face of Tom Trimm. Final seconds in round number 1. He goes up a little longer until you hear me acknowledge it. Hold it over here a little more. It's a girl from the hotel, isn't it?
Yeah, she's nervous. She said she's very nervous.
She's never done the ring card routine before. She's
very nervous.
You're fighting his fight.
Where's the other guy?
Hey, whip this guy. All you can do is keep the pace going. Let's go. Come on, Tom.
Round number 2, scheduled 10-round bout. Eddie Gregg, the 6'5" heavyweight from New York in red. Tom Trimm from Houston, Texas. Both came in at 212.
All right, Tim, now Gregg is trying to keep him on the outside. Hit with a good left hook by Trimm. He started out the round with that good left jab.
He jabbed, and then he walked in to hold on, and as he did so, he took that left hook from Trimm. Mark Tessman, the referee. 3 judges do the scoring at ringside. State of Texas. Again, Gregg being caught in Trimm's pattern of staying inside with him. He's opened the round as he did round 1 with a little bit of boxing, but finds himself here just clutching and grabbing and banging inside.
Well, Tim, he should be outside, but he's doing a job inside on Trimm also. He's the better infighter. But still, it would be, safety first. He should keep this kid outside. But he's scoring some real effective short punches, Gregg is. Quick body shots. Should take a lot out of Trimm.
Oh, a good solid uppercut scored by Gregg, and that hurt Trimm. Best punch of the fight so far. Gregg has been effective inside, up and down. Trimm has stopped throwing punches here in round 2.
Right, he's just pushing, Tim. He should be moving those hands if he's going to stay inside.
Punches up, baby. Punches up.
Another uppercut scored by Gregg. Snapping back the head of Trimm. Trimm showing some wear. He's got a cut on the inside of the bridge of his nose in the right eye and looks a little fatigued. Under a minute to go in round 2.
Tim, I noticed that at the end of the first round. I couldn't figure it out. One round of boxing, and Trimm was already tired.
Maybe he's not trim enough.
Very good, Tim. He's not a trim.
Gregg landed a low blow. Referee Tessman didn't see it. Unintentional, but it did land below the belt.
Tim, how do you know what evil lurks in the mind of men? How do you know it was unintentional?
Well, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's so tall. He's got those long arms, and looked like it was unintentional. He followed that with a good scoring combination inside. He's been landing at will in this round now to Tom Trimm. Under 30 seconds remaining. Round number 2, and Gregg now steps back, and he's scoring from outside, too.
The only effective punch Trimm has thrown is a good left hook.
Gregg's tired, too. His arm worried.
Well, put your arms down. All right, Evan. Give me a nice pass.
Sure looks like he's doing a two-step.
Keep these left pass. Keep it pass.
Those guys with those CBS hats over by my cousin, as soon as this thing's over, he's going to say, I want one of those hats.
Pop that right hand right in there, okay? Keep yourself going, baby. All right? That's what you're trying to do.
Well, those guys, we got half the crowd's got CBS Sports hats.
And that's about to do. Okay? Come on, baby. You're the fool. Look at that. Look at that. Get right down on him.
Can't hear you.
Take him out. Give yourself
Round number 3, scheduled for 10. In the red trunks from New York is unbeaten heavyweight Eddie Gregg. And he just lands a long right hand at Tom Trimm in blue with a white stripe. Referee is Mark Tessman from Houston. Trimm, the Houston heavyweight, to be tired at the end of round 1 and more so at the end of round 2. Gregg, as we see it, has had himself a fairly easy time. Been content to fight from inside, done so effectively. Clancy pointed out, with his height and reach and orthodox boxing style, that one would think he'd be working outside, but he's been able to control the fight inside as well. The right hand scored by Trimm, one of the rare clean scoring punches he's had.
Gregg is able to throw 3, 4, 5 punch combinations without any answer back at all from Tom Trimm.
I like the way he uses the uppercut inside. Gregg often seems to me, Joe, that the taller fighters don't use that enough against shorter fighters who get down low on them. And the opportunity to come up underneath is there, and oftentimes they don't use it. Trimm now scores a combination and backs up Gregg for the first time.
Tim, an uppercut can be a dangerous punch. Inside, it's a good punch, but if you give the guy any room at all and try to throw an uppercut, you can get nailed with a good straight punch.
Well, I do mean inside. Yeah, I'm not talking about that inside circumstance.
Well, inside, Gregg can get a lot of leverage by bringing those punches up. If you get a little more hip in this punch, they have Trimm out of there already.
Combination scored by Gregg again. We're in round 3, scheduled for 10. A pair of 212-pound, 28-year-old heavyweights. One from New York, one from Houston. East meets west in Beaumont, Texas. Good solid left hand by Trimm. Landed.
He's been waiting for that punch all afternoon, Tim. That's about his only chance is to land one big one, and he did land it.
minute to go. Gregg certainly
Low blow by Gregg.
Now he's getting warning from referee Mark Tessman for that one, and there's blood from the bridge of the nose of Trimm. Whether that's the same cut or not, we're not sure.
There's a case where Gregg committed the foul, and it actually helped him because it gave him a little rest, gave him a chance to get himself together.
Yeah, he was hanging on after that big left hand from Trimm. A right scored by Trimm. Now they're toe-to-toe, and they both land. Under 30 seconds to go. Down under the 15-second block in round 3. There's an uppercut scored by Gregg again. Rocking back the head of Tom Trimm.
Trimm does not put his punches together at all.
Final seconds.
Come back with the hook. They would have really nailed the Gregg, but instead he threw the one punch and hung there, you know?
What's happening? You're waiting to get upside against him, and this side goes right in. Go right in. Yeah, 2 times in that round. I'm telling you, you're going to stop this guy. If you can keep up the pace, and start throwing that right hand more, you're going to stop this guy. You can't fight that pace. You understand? They ain't cut at all. You just got to let him.
Bill for round number 4, scheduled 10-round heavyweight bout. Eddie Gregg in red, Tom Trimm in blue, and they had to work on 2 little nicks just off the bridge of the nose of Tom Trimm, one on each side of the nose, and actually the corners of the eye, and Gregg unmarked so far.
Kenny Weldon in Trimm's corner told him to keep up the pace. He said, this big guy can't keep up that. He can't fight this pace. If you keep this pace up, you're going to stop him in the late round. But he had better be around in the late rounds.
Yeah, to stop him. Short right hand scored by Gregg, but certainly round 3 was a good round for Trimm. After Gregg had really had his way through the first 2, he managed to stop Gregg from coming forward with a solid left hook.
Well, Gregg is by far the busier fighter. Trimm is throwing one punch at a time, where Gregg is putting them together. That's been the big difference inside. He is trying to push Gregg, so he's trying to wear Gregg out. He keeps backing him up, using those shoulders, using his head, everything he can. Not doing enough punching or not moving his hands.
There's that left hand again, and Gregg got a piece of that one. Gregg digging to the body, didn't have a whole lot of snap on it. Oh, there's a right hand scored by Gregg as he caught Trimm with a miss. There's a solid uppercut again. That's scored. Trimm showing gameness and just stays right there and fires back, but he's starting to wilt again.
He's tired. He's really tired. Talking about wearing Gregg out, it looks like it worked the opposite way.
Referee warning Gregg for pushing Trimm back to tee him up. There he lands a right hand. Solid uppercut by Gregg. Another uppercut.
Another one. He has
got
Trimm
him hurt.
in trouble.
Trimm in real trouble now here in round 4. Wobbling. Gregg after him in the corner right above us.
Another uppercut by Gregg. That's been his best punch in this sequence, Tim. Brings that right hand up to the body and head.
Trimm gamely standing up, but that's about all at this point, and now he's wobbled back into the corner.
They better take a good look at Trimm. And there it is.
Mark Tessman steps in, says that's enough. It is all over here in the 4th round with Eddie Gregg of New York stopping Tom Trimm of Houston, Texas. The 4th round in Beaumont, Texas. That right uppercut effective throughout the early portion of the fight, and in the 4th round a couple of big ones rocking Trimm, and then a busy Eddie Gregg putting the combinations on to stop him. We'll go back into this replay here in the 4th round. We'll see that big right uppercut that rocked him right there. Gregg springing to the advantage, knowing he had Trimm hurt. Tom Trimm gamely just staying up at this point. Watched closely by referee Mark Tessman, and he'll take one more uppercut. That one just grazing his chin, and so it is all over. A 4th round knockout for Eddie Gregg. Eddie Gregg of New York with a 4th round knockout of Tom Trimm. And here we see in the corner the last gasp try by Trimm, but Mark Tessman had already decided to step in and stop it. So Eddie Gregg moves to 18-0-1 with his 14th knockout, the unbeaten number 20 rated WBC heavyweight.